Time for the Hank and Ron Johnson segment. And I'm excited. Like I said, I've always loved sitting down with Gophers. We've had LeMahieu Brockington. We've had some other Gophers, Brevin Spanford, and Jack Henderson. For those that don't know Jack Henderson, please get to know the name. But he's a safety for the Gophers, but he's the starting nickel. And I do the PJ Fleck show every week with PJ Fleck. And I asked him about Jack Henderson, and you could see his face kind of light up a little bit talking about the way they can use this kid. We called it a joker. PJ just calls him a safety that plays the nickel. So I'm excited to bring Jack Henderson into the show. Jack, welcome to the show. Glad you're a Gopher.
Yes,
Sky you ma, roll the boat, go Gophers. It's homecoming week. So I'm actually about that. That's always been the big joke with freshmen coming into college because high school you have a dance.
Yeah.
When you got to, and you've been in college, so you're a transfer, but you've been in college. But when you got to Minnesota and this week you found it was home, did you kind of think there might be some kind of dance happening?
Yeah, I did. But I mean, I know in most colleges, it's a big thing.
Yeah,
homecoming. It's everybody getting the alumni back, a lot of friends and a lot of family. It's a good time, good atmosphere. Tensions are high. Everybody wants to play good. Because everybody's there. But yeah, it definitely.
So when did you find out there wasn't a dance, like an actual quote unquote homecoming dance?
I mean, I just kind of figured there wouldn't be,
because there are parties, people. Like the Gophers campus is fun. I played there for 4 years. There's a lot of stuff to do. My wife, I met her at the University of Minnesota, so she was on the track team. So there's stuff to do, but there's no dance. Like it's not like high school. So I know PJ Fleck always tells that joke every year on the PJ Fleck show that, it's always the freshmen that say, "Hey, coach, where's the dance at after the game?" And it's like, there's no dance. Like we're gonna play. This is the championship season for Louisiana Raging Cajuns, because they wanted to take off all the other acronyms with their name. They're just Louisiana Raging Cajuns, and you beat them, and then you go on. You have fun. You meet your friends. You hang out with your family. But I'm excited about his two former guys I play with are coming in town. But Jack, let's talk about this, man. You played against North Carolina. Drake May is going to be a first-round pick. You're probably going to end up on his draft tape because you are the example of what he did wrong, which is he assumed you were going to rush, you bluffed, and then you dropped back into coverage. He didn't see you, and you picked it off underneath. Take us through that moment of kind of bluffing the blitz and then understanding you're tracking his eyes, and you're like, oh, he's throwing it, and you're able to pick it off. Because, I mean, what are you, 6'3"?
Yes, about 6'2" flat. My listed height would be 6'3", but yeah, I'm about 6'2" flat, maybe a little extra quarter of an inch. But mainly going into that play, I think it was just a perfect. It was honestly the perfect call for the play they had. I went up, and then once he started rolling out, expanding out the pocket, the back shot out, and I have to leverage the back out to the flat. But I knew from film study that the 7 route would most likely be behind me, and so really we call that playing top down. So I was playing top down on him, and he threw it, and I was able to go up and get it. So it was just a perfect storm, good call, and good play.
Yeah, and as a safety at 6'3", 6'2", NFL caliber body, you look at a guy like Tyler Nubin. He's going to the NFL, no questions asked.
Oh, yeah.
What do you learn, or what have you learned? I mean, it's only been a short amount of time. We know it's been, a couple games early on, but you went through camp, spring ball.
Oh, yeah.
What are you learning from seeing a guy like Tyler Nubin operate?
Since he's been in the defense for so long, he's able to give us some tips, like Coach calls it like level 4 and level 5 stuff. Because, you have the base coverages and whatnot, but he sees things that others don't see. And I think that's because of his preparation. The guy's a freak athlete, obviously, but he prepares like a freak too. He comes in the meetings Monday. He already knows the count, the claps. I mean, he knows how to analyze and watch film, and I think that's part of what makes him so good. Other than, he's just a great athlete. But just taking his preparation, some notes from him, watching him prepare has definitely helped me for some of these big games. And he's a great guy to have around in the room. He's a great leader.
And I'm from Detroit, so I've been following Darius Taylor from the minute he committed to Minnesota. I started tweeting with him. We started talking. I was excited he was coming to University of Minnesota as a freshman. Like Detroit, it's tough to get kids to come from Detroit to Minnesota, which is weird, but it is tough because Michigan State, you got so many schools right in your area first that want you, and then you still have a lot of other ones to bypass to get to Minnesota. When you think about Iowa, Wisconsin, Missouri, even Kansas, there's a lot of other schools. And then you go all the way up north and you got Minnesota. And so to get Darius Taylor II here, I was excited. And he has been everything that everybody thought he would be. 3 weeks in a row, Big Ten Freshman of the Week. He's probably going to get it for the fourth. I mean, that's going to be my tweet game day morning. Like Darius Taylor, as long as he can make it to game day healthy, he should be the fourth week in a row Big Ten Freshman of the Week. He's doing things that no other freshman in Big Ten history has done. He's doing stuff that Lawrence Maroney, Marion Barber, Darrell Thompson, all NFL caliber running backs haven't done. When you see this kid work as a freshman, man, what have you guys seen from like week one now heading into later in the season?
What I think it is the most is, obviously he's got great athletic ability, but me personally, I'm starting to see him more confident in himself. Coming in as a freshman, even coming in as a transfer, playing in big time atmosphere, it's not easy. There's a mental battle there that you have to win. But I think he's been getting more confident in not only the offense, but confidence in himself that he can do what he's doing, and he's doing it really well. So it's nice to see that growth from such a young player.
Yeah, he is doing well. And you transferred in. So when you came in and PJ Fleck was, and of course this happened on your recruiting trip, you heard the roll the boat, you heard all the what did you first what was your mindset when you kind of started to understand the roll the boat culture?
I think there's a lot of similarities in how I was mentally thinking, in my own life prior to it. I was always kind of just a put my head down and work kind of guy. That's what the program's all about. But, it really started with Coach Danny as to why I wanted to come here. He showed up in my living room and, we talked for hours. He's a great man. And just before even getting to Minnesota, I was like, just based off this guy, I want him to be my coach. So, but yeah, and then when I got here, so I just fell in love. It's everything you want as a player, because the way I saw it is I would have 100 other guys with the same mindset as me.
Right.
And that's really all I could ask for. That's what I felt like I was missing. There's a lot of guys around me that didn't have the same work ethic. So just being surrounded by so many guys that are like-minded, I knew I wanted to come here.
And I've been there before, man, like 1999 or 2000.
Yeah.
Northwestern University walks into the University of Minnesota's building. We were the Metrodome back then. And we were lucky enough to have TCF like you guys. And we were up. We weren't up big, but we were up.
Yeah.
Well, we win at the end of the game. They throw a Hail Mary and they beat us. So I've been there with some heartbreaks, especially against Northwestern.
Yeah.
But as a player, 21-point lead, you see it dwindling, you go to overtime, and it doesn't go in your favor. What was going through your mind in that moment?
We got to execute, we got to execute better. I'd say our preparation was good. You saw it through the first three quarters, but I think we just got to realize that nobody's going to lay down to us. You got to finish games, especially at this level. Another Big Ten opponent, like every game is a losable game. Every team, every week, especially with college football nowadays, it's a toss-up. So you have to want it. You got to finish games. You got to execute and trust the guys around you to do their job. And you just can't let things like that happen.
And when you think about heading into playing Louisiana, and so you mentioned that we got to finish games. Nobody's going to lay down. Do you think that game now becomes like an imprint in guys' brains to say, look, even if we're up 30-0 versus Louisiana, we have to put 60 on the board? Like, do you now feel like guys have that mentality?
Yeah. There's a sense of urgency for sure. And that's one of our words this week is attack. Coach keeps saying attack this, attack that, attack everything, because that's what you have to do. And so that's the mindset we have, pedal to the metal. We're going to attack these guys. They're going to attack us. I'm from Louisiana, so I know how they play. I played against them last year at Southeastern. Louisiana's full of good talent. a bunch of hard-nosed football players is what I like to call them. And, it's going to be a game we're going to have to show up for and, accelerate through the middle and finish strong.
And something you weren't here for, but he's there now. So you got Tanner Morgan in the building as a offensive analyst. And so you kind of can hear about Tanner Morgan. You hear about the wins and the leadership and so on and so forth, being here for 6 years. And now you turn the reins over to a younger guy, Nathan Calais-McManus. Nathan Calais-McManus has an NFL arm. He has an NFL body. Everybody talks about his NFL caliber play. But in games, it's been hit or miss. What have you seen from this young guy that gives the defense hope to feel like, you know what, if we could just keep teams to a certain number, we know Ethan and that offense can get it done? Yeah,
I just see him improving so much every single week. But I mean, the guy can sling it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I don't know how, but the ball comes out of his hand and it's just beautiful every time, or most of the time. But just knowing that he has that ability and the fact that he can lock in and get in that mode is inspiring. And, as a defense, regardless of what offense does, we want to go out there and we don't want to allow no points. Every time we step on the field, the expectation is a 3 and out. That's how we look at things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, like I said, we got a bunch of hard-nosed, like-minded guys. And, his some things I've seen from him, I know what he's got. And, I'm confident that he'll find his stroke and, be able to do some great things for us moving forward.
And you guys have a lot of new pieces within this building. You got Darius Taylor, you got yourself, you got Jones at corner.
Yes.
You add a bunch of new bodies. But one thing PJ Fleck said is when you see guys come in and start to gel with this defense or this offense right away, they are program guys, they're culture guys.
Yes.
What makes you guys program or culture guys? Like where did that mindset kind of start as a group in this offseason?
Just the discipline, all the things we do around the facility, the discipline, it, all the culture stuff, it's imprinted in our heads, and they never come down from the standard. Every day they say the price went up. So yesterday's price ain't today's price.
Oh yeah.
All that stuff, even the minute details, things you wouldn't even think about. The coaches don't let anything slide, so, it's just, it's all in the details for us.
And moving forward, you guys are going to have some big games coming up, and PJ Fleck made a comment about this, that this is was the third most challenging schedule in college football, as far as you got number 2 Michigan and walk into this building. You're going to have to deal with Ohio State. You're going to have Iowa, Wisconsin. How do you guys make sure going to those games, and even, because every single game is a championship game for you guys. It's we're playing the next team. So how do you guys get that mindset to kind of really just block out the noise and say, this game is what matters now. We're worried about Michigan next week?
Yeah. Really, it just comes down to, our 11 got to be better than your 11. They say that all the time around the facility, and it's true. And especially in big-time games, you can't afford to make little mistakes. Going against powerhouse offenses and even defenses, those type of teams, even a little blown coverage or missed assignment, it will cost you a touchdown almost every time in those big games. And that's a difference maker is, they execute so well. Those high ranked teams. So
and
that's
people
one.
What did you say? Sorry.
Yeah, that's just one thing we got to focus on is the details, especially big opponents. Preparation's got to be through the roof. So you can't afford to mis-execute in a huge time situation.
And when people because Jack Henderson, again, new body on the scene, but again, making plays early on. What do you want people to kind of know? This is what Jack Henderson is about, because, we know Tyler Nubin, we know Darius Green now, we know Darius Taylor, we know Ethan Calais-McManus. But when you look back on your legacy, because I know PJ talks about that, like significance, what are you about? What do you want Gopher fans to know most about Jack Henderson?
I just put my head down and go to work. Anywhere coach tells me to play on the field, I'm going to play, and I'm going to execute at the highest level I can. I was a 0-star coming out of high school. Everything I have so far has been earned. And, I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity to play on this stage. But one major thing is more recently is I've been getting more self-confidence on the field, and that's one thing I've been striving for. Is I've put in all the work, but when you start to make some plays and you start to get into the flow of the game, you're able to block out all the noise, so to speak. It's a good feeling as a player when you can kind of just go out there and play football. So that's what I'm most excited about, is just keep playing football and getting more comfortable out there.
Yeah, and you hit the portal. So when you talked about that whole transfer process and picking Minnesota, what led you to Minnesota in the end?
It was a great combination of a bunch of things. Coach Danny, Coach Fleck, and Coach Rossi. Not to mention, you can't not mention the beautiful facilities and resources that we have here. And I think that perfect storm. I talked with my parents and I was like, "Hey, how do y'all feel about Minnesota?" And my dad just shook his head. He was like, "Son, that's where you need to be."
Man. And that's the key too. Like when your family can get into it and be involved and enjoy the process. And last one or maybe more than last one. Like I'm like a strength coach. I tell you it's one more and then you got one more. But PJ Fleck often talks about, he's raising young men. He's like a father to so many young men because he spends so much time with you guys and your families aren't there to help you go to class, help you study, help you wake up in the morning, help you get to practice. Heather feels like a mom at times because she's making sure as well that you guys are getting etiquette and learning how to date and all this stuff. How has that been from a culture shift from one school to the next where the coach really does take time to kind of help you become a man?
Man, it's awesome. It truly is awesome from all angles. We show up, it's mandatory. We go to class, it's mandatory. We go to tutoring, it's mandatory. But really, you have to reach a level of maturity where, what you have to do becomes what you want to do. And I know I spoke with you earlier in the week. My schedule right now is tough, but it's really instilling discipline. That's really turning myself, I'd say, into a man. It's just the discipline of the daily schedule. You having to get up at 6 a.m., it becomes what you want to do. And it's just a big part. And like I said, the resources are plentiful. We have I don't even know how many staff around that are just willing to help between, nutritionists, strength staff, tutoring, academics, mental health. We have it all the resources. And, I couldn't be happier.
Well, I'm Ron Johnson. Jack Henderson. Gopher fans, please make sure you check him out on social media and make sure you continue to watch the rest of the season. I'm excited to see the rest of the season. It's going to be fun to watch. I've learned a lot about you from PJ Fleck doing the PJ Fleck Show weekly. I'm going to talk to the Gopher staff. I hope we get you on the PJ Fleck Show this year at some point. But make sure you guys watch out for this kid. Plays safety, but also comes in as a starting nickel. And PJ Fleck put it best. And you guys might have saw us on the PJ Fleck Show last week. He said, when you can play base defense and still leave your safeties on the field, you're doing something right. And that's why Jack Henderson is a big part of this Gophers defense with Joe Rossi. But I'm Ron Johnson.